He was heavily featured in Little T's end of the year recap that's out on social media. I don't know that Pate has seen that, but you made several appearances. He's on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. What is up, Josh Pate? How are you?
Yeah, I'm of the opinion she should enter that thing in some small festivals. And I am actually in the process of looking to ship an honorary Andes Mint to her just because I loved it that much. I appreciate it. From me to her through you guys. Thank you.
The Andes Mint is so underrated. I never see them anymore. Like at Diplomat Deli, they've got like a little thing of them.
Yeah.
Oh, look at this. I brought one for each of us. And do you know that I came back from the beach with these and I showcased them, and someone hit me up and said, how many Olive Garden lobbies did you have to rob to get that many Andes?
That is so true.
They are. Do you like them room temp or
Cold.
frozen?
They're better cold.
Well, if they're cold, they're just going to become room temp in my mouth because I don't chew them like a psychopath. I let them slowly melt on my tongue.
Yeah, that's what you do.
Look, You're right. I don't see them anymore. And yet I've never met a single person who says, ooh, I don't like Andes Mints. Candy corn is divisive. Andes Mints could unite this country.
Yeah.
And why are we?
And I don't like mint, Pate. I don't like mint, but I love Andes Mints.
They're unbelievable. They are universally accepted as great, and yet we don't see them anywhere, which is typical.
It would be a good liqueur, too. Like, I think you could mix that with a cocktail if you had a liqueur that was Andes on the top.
Yeah, I feel we're a little highbrow, A, calling it Andes. I always called it Andes. And B, talking about liqueur. I mean, I feel like this is the most highbrow moment in show history.
No, but I think Andes would be with a Y, right?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I grew up in Calhoun County. I mean, I'm surprised. Pate grew up near Columbus, Georgia, that he calls it Andes.
Do you ever elongate certain letters that
like
you
what?
know good and well shouldn't be elongated? Because I did it. I've called this Andes my whole life.
Yeah.
But when it's something about the uppity nature of this show that just made me go, this morning.
We are highbrow, so I understand that.
I know how all this works. At some point, when he gets back from the college ball playoffs, there will be a year's supply of these mints at his doorstep.
No doubt.
Because of his NIL deal here with us today. So congratulations to you. I appreciate that. So were you at the beach? Do I remember this correctly? It wasn't some kind of drug-induced dream I had over the holidays, right? A beach trip?
I was, man. So my girlfriend lives or grew up on the coast of a state along the Gulf Coast. And there is a beach there. It's very, very underrated. It's undervisited. I'm not even giving the name of the beach because the locals don't really want it promoted. But it was amazing. Sunset down there like you wouldn't believe. I grew up in the South. Okay, so I always fantasized about snow on Christmas. But lately, I think it's Dunaway rubbing off on me, but I have inverted totally. And I have become my father, essentially. Not that Dunaway and I are biologically related. I don't want to confirm that this morning.
Here we go.
But
again.
I love warm weather, man. I love like the idea of a beach and tropical vibes for Christmas now.
Yeah, me too. That St. Simon area down in Georgia is really a good place. I like it.
You're gonna try to pull it out.
Yeah,
of him?
nobody knows about St. Simon.
Yeah.
No, there's an area down there that near St. Simon that I like a lot. The Greenways were from there in college. They were just good people.
He's talking about Cape Sandblast. I mean, I can cut right through this. It's Cape Sandblast 100%.
Am I now?
Everybody in Birmingham has figured that joint out, so it's going to get overrun soon.
Very
trust me.
dog friendly, by the way. So, Pate, are you wearing a Jurassic Park shirt?
I am. Yeah. Would you like to talk to the Pecs this morning?
No, the reason I think it's so funny, there is like an underground society that think Jurassic Park is the best movie ever. I thought in '93 it was great. I think it holds up. I met a couple. It was one of the weirdest conversations I've ever had at a TNT playoff kickoff party. And they knew everything about Jurassic Park. It was their favorite movie. They watch it like once a month. But I've talked to people since that it's like their number one movie of all time.
You phrased that. You said there are some underground societies, and then you said I've been in a couple, as if to insinuate you've been in the societies themselves and just conversations about Jurassic Park.
No, I stumbled across them.
I think we took it for granted at the time. So I think it really, really holds up. Like you could show some folks movies from the mid 90s. I'm of the opinion that Titanic in 1997, if it would have been made 10 years later, would hold up from a special effects perspective a whole lot more. Jurassic Park was made way before Titanic, and it holds up brilliantly. And it was what you said, 1993?
Yep.
I think it was. And also, it was one of those movies, Independence Day did the same thing, where they made it a blockbuster during production. They knew that they were doing like this stuff I'm wearing, and they were doing the rides, and they were doing all those things. And it was brilliantly done. But look, I've got people in my life who have still never seen Jurassic Park. and they think it's just some like dinosaur movie for kids. And I'm like, there are so many life lessons. I feel the same way about Scream 2. There are so many life lessons to be learned from these movies.
Yeah. I've never seen Jurassic Park. I've never seen it.
Never seen it?
I have not. No.
That's good.
Oh, okay. Well, your undies mint is going back in the drawer for now.
I am off.
Hey, and you'll be happy. Twister is having a sequel come out this summer. You knew that, right? Twisters.
I know it.
Okay.
You also would not be surprised to learn that I've already done a little research on extras and where they're filming and what's needed. And I got very little to do in the spring. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, so Bill Paxton has passed away. Who's going to play in this?
I'm also open to being a lead character. I don't have to be relegated to extra. I just thought that was my foot in the door. I don't know.
I think the centralized character, the main character, is going to be Helen Hunt's daughter. I mean, not biologically, but the Helen Hunt character.
So to bring this full circle, is Helen Hunt going to have the Hope Diamond and she's in a hurricane? Or she's in a tornado? Yeah.
Possibly. But I think it's going to be based on her daughter.
Okay.
Who I guess will be a storm chaser, much like you.
Yeah, no, well, not to spoiler alert the ending for the 1996 blockbuster Twister, but as we remember, Bill Paxton and her got together right after anchoring to pipes to survive the F5 tornado at the very end. So I would guess that is his daughter and his legacy lives to her.
Yeah, I'm guessing. I don't want to say this is going to be an easy plot to figure out. They will have a short cameo from Helen Hunt, and they will talk about Bill Paxton's character, how he lost his life in a storm.
Yeah, I think that's a safe bet. You also, I think you guys and I have talked about this because this is how twisted our conversations end up becoming. The girl who plays Melissa, Jamie Gertz, she was in a lot of other movies, but the girl who plays Bill Paxton's fiance in Twister, I think one of the wildest bits of Hollywood trivia ever is she is now part owner of the Atlanta Hawks.
Yeah.
Wow.
In real life. And
Yeah.
people always think I'm making that up. They have to Google it. It's worth a Google.
Yeah, if you do net worth, Jamie Gertz has got more than 99% of the actors out there, and she hasn't done anything, I think, since something like Twister.
That Twister money's that Twister. Can you imagine getting the Twister royalty check in her mailbox and how it compares to what she just gets for waking up every morning?
Yeah.
That's really good. By the way, I'm pushing now for anchoring to pipes T-shirts in our store.
Yeah.
It's a great way.
Anchored to pipes.
Yeah, whatever the kids are calling it today, anchoring to pipes is one of them.
Do you think that's the way a tornado looks from the inside, the way it looked when they were anchored to those pipes?
I think Twister was a very entertaining movie.
Okay, so that's a no.
That is my official stance on Twister. It was very entertaining.
I know we got to get to football, but one more thing on the tornado.
This is what happens, Pate. We have this challenge that when we go down a road, nobody wants to ask the first sports question.
They really don't.
It becomes a phobia of
No,
mine.
I think this. I've told these guys my algorithms now. They give me disastrous like car crashes and people falling off ceilings.
Can't imagine why.
But one of them was these dudes were stuck in the middle of a tornado. Have you seen this? And like their car, it's like overcome in like the aftermath, them getting out, and they basically just fall to the ground. They're both crying. I mean, it's one of them's just praying to God the entire time. Have you seen that video?
Yeah, I've seen it. We were in Illinois chasing for real this past spring, and we were doing what is called hook slicing, which is a storm chasing term, which you don't need to worry about. But we had a guy several hundred yards ahead of us get too close and ended up in a tornado, and he's thrown several times, car rolls several times. We're just witnessing this. And so we come up after that tornado pulls off in the distance, we come up on him. We don't know what we're about to see. And so we end up going and checking on him, and he's alive. He's good. Well, since then, the guy's made a YouTube video about it and got millions of views. And I think probably if you had him on today, he said it's the best thing that's ever happened to him. So there's a real fine line between disaster and striking it rich in the tornado chasing scene. I prefer to stay on the backside.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, that hook slice.
Yeah. That's the old hook echo is what they're after right there.
Hook
And-
slicing
Slice
is
that echo though.
hook
Yeah.
slicing is another nice T-shirt idea.
Yeah,
I
the
like
old
that.
hook slice.
The
You
old
know,
hook slicing.
I would say, and this is maybe a bold statement, you would know better, because, and for those that are watching throughout the country, we're based in Birmingham. I think the people of Birmingham are more educated about tornadoes than anywhere in the world.
Oh my goodness. I just had this debate with someone this past week.
What a weird debate to have with somebody.
I think the Oklahoma City metro, it would be the biggest metro area in terms of like the highest tornadic IQ, because that's generational. It's my opinion that Birmingham has only in the last 20 to 30 years gotten the national acclaim that it should as a tornado hotbed. Also the DFW, the Dallas metro, those kids were ingrained with it. But I think the OKC Dallas, and Birmingham in any order, those would be your top three.
So we're new money in the tornado game is what you're telling me.
Yeah, and you can still smell it a little bit, but the smell is fading.
Yeah, okay, good.
That's why we spend $2 bills on every one of our tornado road trips. We're new money. We're new money.
Yeah, but as a kid, like we would do those. We would get sent down, and you'd be in the hall, and you put your head between your
all
knees.
The time.
And I never thought it was a big deal. And then after the tornado in Tuscaloosa in 2011, I have completely changed my stance on tornadoes.
Well, see, one hit my high school though when I was in school there. Now I was in middle school at Saks, but it hit Saks High School and did some damage.
They scare me to death now.
Yeah, my school got hit when I was a kid, so I had a healthy fear of tornadoes from that point on. But my point is, I think the meteorologists, a lot of people focus on James Spann, and James does a tremendous job, but there are a lot of good ones in Birmingham, and they have educated the people on what to look for. I think most people around here know when to be scared and when not to be scared.
Would you call it a watch or a warning of high tide that the Wolverines are dealing with in Pasadena? Is there concern in the Michigan sides, or they feel confident going into this game?
The transition skills just continue to stun me.
He's the best in the business.
Professionalism, all the way turned up to 11. I've been perusing several message boards, which, as you know, is the peak of our industry. You just got to search message boards, and you got to see how the public is. You got to gauge the public temperature. And it has come to my attention that both Michigan and Alabama fans feel they have a significant edge in this game. I don't think either one of them do. I think it's going to be a great game. I don't think Vegas is stupid when they hung that number out there that still exists today, by the way. So if anyone has a massive edge, the sharpest people in the world don't know about it. But I think there may be a rude awakening of sorts, in a sense that I think some of Michigan's defensive statistical dominance has been built on total inferiority in the Big Ten offensively. I did not just say, I'm not talking to you guys, I'm talking about the folks who are about to take this and run with it. I didn't say they're not very good defensively. They're very sound defensively. I am saying that had I thrown a few more Ohio States, or if I threw an LSU on their schedule, I don't think they're holding LSU to whatever, their yearly average was, points per game. And so I think there'll be plays to be made. That's just a defense, though, that's so good at sitting back, taking advantage of your mistakes. And if you look at Michigan offensively, their statistical profiles average at best. Well, that's because they hadn't had to drive fields, because they've been set up with short fields all year from their defense. Their defense has either scored or set them up inside plus territory. So I know it's so easy for us to say, oh, if Bama doesn't turn it over, Bama wins. Well, that's the whole point. Are they going to turn it over? Because at some point you got to be aggressive, and that's the risk reward of aggression.
You wonder, too, and Josh Pate is with us, Late Kick Josh on Twitter, 24/7 Sports. He is, there are rumors, I don't know if it's true, he's going to have a jam-packed show tonight before leaving for Pasadena. That could or could not be true. You'll need to pay attention to Josh for that and subscribe wherever you get his work. He's on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. You mentioned turnovers, and that's something Michigan does not do. You can dog out opponents, you can do whatever you want to Michigan, but they do not turn the football over, and you wonder what their reaction would be if all of a sudden they get a spate of those. One or two turnovers. Does that get in their head a little bit?
Yeah, I would. Well, I mean, it's a veteran-laden team, so I'm not saying they would be visibly shaken on national TV, but I think it would. My biggest fear for Michigan in this game is, what if Bama's front is able to get after J.J. McCarthy, which they will, and they can't run the ball? What if they're very limited running the ball? Because they cannot win this game if they can't run the ball. Bama can. Like, there are paths where, like the Georgia game, Bama's under 3 yards per carry on the ground, and they still find a way to win the game. I don't think there's that path for Michigan, short of being +4 turnovers or something like that. So that's the great unknown to me. McCarthy, for as good as he was last year, including in the semifinal game, they scored 45, albeit in a loss, but they had to answer TCU. This year, back half of the season, pedestrian numbers at best. The counter to that would be, well, he's been banged up. Okay, well, we just gave him 3 weeks. So I should see the best version of J.J. McCarthy, seemingly, in his time at Michigan in this game. And they're going to need it, because I'm not sure of a lot of things these days, but one of them is, I don't think Michigan is just flat out winning the game, running the ball down Alabama's throat. I don't think anyone would do that. Georgia didn't do it. I don't think anyone's going to do it.
I agree with that.
That would be my biggest fear.
Hey, would you give me this? And I've said it for a couple of weeks. I think 3 of the teams in the college football playoff right now are playing with house money. I think if you're 3 of the fan bases, you can be like, Washington, year 2 under DeBoer, man, we are heading in the right direction. Sark, year 3 at Texas, heading in the right direction. Alabama, from where they were in September to making this unbelievable run, knocking off Georgia and getting back to a college football playoff, to me, it's house money. Alabama fans might disagree. But Michigan is the one team that not only needs to beat Alabama, they need to win a national championship, or the narrative behind Jim Harbaugh completely changes.
Couldn't agree more. The pressure in this entire field is on Michigan.
Yep.
Think about this. When's the last time we watched Bama go into a semifinal or title situation where the pressure wasn't on them? Because that's the situation here. To be very clear, this is not new. Beating Ohio State's not new for Michigan. They've done it 2 years in a row, 3 years in a row now. Making the playoffs not new. They've done it 3 years in a row now. Being in the national championship game, winning a national championship, as NFL talk once again circulates around your head coach, as a lot of these dudes who have been the nucleus of this team are about to depart for the next level, this is do or die time for them. That doesn't mean they'll never get another crack at it, but statistically, just percentage-wise, this is their best shot. You never know if you're going to get back there again. I know it seems like the window's always infinite and it's going to be open once you've got it rolling. We saw that thing close on Dabo Swinney pretty quickly. We could see that thing close on Michigan. It could close on Georgia. It could close on anyone. And so I agree with you. The other thing about it is, not that I disagree with you on Sark in Texas, but it would greatly behoove Steve Sarkisian to win this whole thing, because it's about to get infinitely harder for him to win a national championship. Right now, he's got it set where his path is beat in terms of odds, beat the 4th best team in the playoffs, and then maybe beat a team you already beat this year. Coming up, you got to go through an SEC schedule. You got to win more games in the playoff. He has his shot right now to be national championship winning head coach Steve Sarkisian for the rest of time. And I'm not saying he'll take the Jimbo Fisher trajectory, but think about how far Jimbo rode that 2013 national title. If he didn't win that, how long would he have been able to survive doing what he did after that?
Yeah.
And so you buy yourself so much equity on the back end if you can win one of those things.
Yep. Unless you're Gene Chizik.
Sure.
I would say this.
He got a pretty big check to go home out of it, though.
And we differ up here. I don't judge Steve Sarkisian by his previous head coaching jobs. I feel like this is a new version of Sark 2.0, because of the life changes he's attempted to make. Do you factor in his time at Washington and USC when you think of Steve Sarkisian, the head coach, or do you just go by this body of work since he spent time in Tuscaloosa?
I factor it all in, but I also agree with your sentiment. Like, I know what you're saying, and I agree with you, but to me, that's part of the beauty of it. Sometimes you screw up in life and in coaching, and you get punished for it, and then you learn lessons from it. It's not that that's the wildest concept in the world. It just so happens that you rarely get the 3rd chance or the 4th chance in coaching, like sometimes you do in life. Steve Sarkisian's gotten that. Nick Saban is someone he owes pretty much everything to in getting him that opportunity. But the thing about it is, guys have coached under Saban before and gone on and failed on their own. Guys like Kirby, who's doing it his first time around, or guys like Sark, who failed and then came to the rehab clinic and then is going and doing it successfully. That, to me, is the message that really should be promoted. And it's always the reason why when a guy gets hired, I don't automatically just assume what his Wikipedia page says about him is what we're inheriting. Sometimes it is, but sometimes guys have learned lessons from the past and they're de-incentivized from doing it the way that failed them because they've already learned that way doesn't work.
So he is Josh Pate. You can do a lot of things. Follow him on Twitter at LateKickJosh. Go do exactly what we ask you to do for us on YouTube. Subscribe at Late Kick with Josh Pate on YouTube. Give him a thumbs up. It is very simple to click that thumbs up. We ask you to do it for us, do it for him, and set your alerts so you know when he's live, which could be. There are reports that it will be tonight. Pate, thank you very much for the time. Have a great new year. We will see you in Pasadena.
I will bring me an umbrella just in case. I'll see you guys out there.
Dunaway told us it's going to be sunny. Now, it's Jimmy Lamine saying that.
It's sunny for game day. It's raining every other second we're out there.
Yeah, I did see that. That is unfortunate.
Yeah, I'm of the belief that I think the Rose Committee is so powerful that they influence the Weather Channel to never forecast rain on the Rose Parade. They never forecast rain on that day. Yeah. It's always sunshine.
I'll pop an Andy's Mint to that.
Yeah.
Wow, lucky man right there. All right, thank you, Weather Channel. So 80-year-old people know that there won't rain on the Rose Parade then if it's the Weather Channel, yes. Thank you, Pate. Josh Pate with us.
Most popular channel on TV right now.
Is it really the Weather Channel?